So Pierre Poilievre put out a video today exposing the fact that Mark Carney has not actually gotten rid of the carbon tax, and that the worst part of it is still there. Mark Carney made this big show where he signed some executive order that we don't even have here in Canada to get rid of the carbon tax, when all he really did was just lower the interest rate to zero, but it still technically could be raised back up at any time without it being voted in. Because the carbon tax itself was voted in, and to completely get rid of it, if Mark Carney actually wanted to get rid of it, he would pass a bill or put forward a bill for it to be passed so that the carbon tax could be removed completely, and he didn't. Wonder why. So we're going to get into this, then we're going to talk about it. But before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing that for me. So let's have a look, and then we'll talk about it.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has tried to deny the existence of continued hidden Liberal taxes on groceries. But Canada's leading food price expert, the food professor, Sylvain Charlebois, has said the exact opposite. He says, and I quote, "The industrial carbon tax, the worst part is still there." He was referring to the fact that farmers pay the tax on the steel that goes into their farm equipment, combines, tractors, and bins, and on their fertilizer. Is the Prime Minister really going to expect Canadians who can't pay their grocery bills to believe that the cost of the carbon tax on our farmers does not get passed on at the grocery shelf?
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to quote independent research, Mr. Speaker, the Canadian Climate Institute, which finds that the impact of the industrial carbon tax, now wait for it, the net impact of the industrial carbon tax on food prices, it is on average around 0%.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister expects us to believe government-funded so-called experts paid to push his agenda, instead of believing in the obvious fact that when you tax the things that go into making food, you tax all who buy the food. This is a Prime Minister who says he's a great expert. But he told CTV Nova Scotia that Canadians don't use steel anymore.
Yeah. That's true.
Does he not know that there is steel in farm tractors, farm combines, farm bins, and other farm equipment? And does he not think, for God's sakes, that those costs get passed on to consumers?
Of course he knows all those things. He does it anyway. Why? Because he's got to make it look like he's trying to help, and every time he fails, it looks like an accident. Really, it's on purpose. But he can't make it look that way. People will turn on him to. Even Canadians would wake up. Liberal Canadians changing their mind. I mean, that would be the day hell froze over. But it would happen if he made it obvious. He's got to do it over time. And he's got to scare people with the climate agenda. And he's got to make it seem like he's really trying. And then when it fails, he's going to use all this fancy financial mumbo jumbo that he learned probably when he was an employer at JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, whichever one of those hedge fund he worked at for 13 years. This guy, again, it's going to take some more time. But with Trump now canceling the trade deal or terminating trade talks, and considering that it was because of Doug Ford wasted $75 million of taxpayer money, but he was advised by Mark Carney to do it. So Mark Carney's hands are not clean here. That's a tough one. And hopefully, we will finally start to see some consistent polling of people going, okay, you know what? I was going to vote for Pierre. I was convinced falsely that Mark Carney was going to be the guy to deal with Trump. 6 months in, he's already late on both of his deadlines to get a deal done, and now they're not even talking. Okay, I think Pierre might actually be better here. That's going to start happening eventually. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait a little bit longer, and I know you guys hate to hear it. Trust me, I hate to hear it too. I hate to say it. I wish I could come on here, guys, and say, hey, look, guess what? We got an election, and it's going to be in December, and it's going to be great, and Pierre Poilievre is going to win a massive majority, and we can get things done here. Or at least be able to hold a conservative government accountable. That's really what I'm looking forward to. I want Pierre to get in because I believe in him, and people might say I'm naive for that. Fair enough. We will see. And if I was wrong and Pierre Poilievre continues to do stupid things that don't help the country and hurt the middle class, and I'm going to call him out too. As should you all in the comment section, as should everybody. But this is why Mark Carney was put in, because he's tricky and he's sneaky. And he knows a lot of ways to make things look really good when they're not. Oh, I got rid of the carbon tax. But he didn't. But there's people out there, a lot of people, who actually believe that he did get rid of it. So you see what I mean? Like, he's got a lot of ways to kind of manipulate and make people think that he's this really great guy and he's this really great banker and great businessman and great negotiator, and I'm going to put my elbows up and defeat Donald Trump. How's that going? They're not even talking. And now I guess apparently Doug Ford said that, after this weekend, we're going to stop rolling those ads. Okay, but just because you stop doing something that pissed Trump off doesn't mean he's not going to be pissed off for a little bit longer. That doesn't mean negotiations are going to start again on Monday. Maybe they do. Trump is very unpredictable, so we don't know. Carney should have known all these things. Why would you advise Doug Ford, first of all, to spend $75 million of our tax money just to piss off the guy you're trying to negotiate with? Does that sound like a guy who wants a deal to you? Doesn't sound like a guy who wants a deal to me, and he's going to keep using this politically until people get tired of it, and then he will come up with a deal. And they'll paint it, they'll make this great advertisement. It won't be great to us, but you know what I mean? Like, they'll put a lot of effort into it, and it'll show, look at how good this deal is, and Carney's the Trump slayer, and oh my God, look at how good he is. And then the polls are going to come out, and if people believe that garbage, Mark Carney could be the one who's up in the polls and calling an election, and that would be big trouble.